Hello and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi. Last time, Tomoe joined teams with Soramachi after finding out the Nagoya prosecutors were trying to snake them, and basically got the big bad Chiba out of the crosshairs. So we're risking a lot going on Team Soramachi here. And yeah, apparently, we're going to a lockbox, I think, or something. We're doing something. Tomoe entrusted Fujita and the others to handle submitting materials to join Investigation HQ, and left Kakuchi Station with Soramachi.
ギリギリセーフでしたね。
Just as the two of them hopped in a car and were about to start the engine, 4 station wagons and vans entered through the main gate to the station and stopped in a guest parking spot. Then the door swung open and the man dressed in suits climbed out in a hurry and rushed to the station lobby. Yeah, literally getting up just before they get in. Perfect timing.
一緒にいた部下には、あなたが来たことは所長と課長たちにだけ伝えるようにと念をしています。受付の子にも口止めをしておくよう、私の妹に頼んでおきました。ご安心ください。
お気遣い、痛み入ります。ところで、あなたは資料引き渡しの場に立ち会わなくてもよろしいのですか？
実は私、現在謹慎中なもので、本当はここにいちゃいけないんですよ。
Yeah, we're off duty. Tomoe smiled as she said that while slowly driving through the gate and exiting the Kakuchi police station. Then, while on the national highway en route to the Kakuchi train station, she briefly explained to Soramachi the circumstances behind the key.
なるほど。それで、その鍵は塚田から受け取ったものなんですか？
The secret tech.
ええ。
The Nuke.
当初は何の鍵なのかわからなかったんですが、これと同じ形状の鍵を柿内駅前のコインロッカーで見たと、さっき私の妹が教えてくれたんです。それを今から確かめて、ものによってはあなたにそのまま引き渡したいと思っています。
よろしいんですか？あ、いや。
I mean, we might as well at this point.
願ったり叶ったりのお話ですが。
We're already putting all our faith into him. Might as well just not hold anything bad from him.
あなたが先ほどおっしゃったように、ことは急を要します。ですから、中身を確かめた後に東京地検をお送りするよりも、よほど効率的かと。
警部さん、あなた。
Of course, Soramachi looked at Tomoe with a completely befuddled expression. Love the word befuddled. It always makes me laugh, man. Such a goofy sounding word. Indeed, he had to come here making unreasonable demands for her to cooperate on this investigation, but it seemed crazy to be willing to go so far to trust a stranger.
バカなのか？それとも何か含むところがあって。
As Soramachi started developing those doubts, Tomoe smiled and spoke up.
私たち警察の力だけでは政治家を取り締まることはできない。刑事事件を起こしたとの確固たる証拠があれば話は別ですが、不正や汚職に関しては何もできません。それに総選挙のことを考えれば時間はほとんど残されていない。
ええ、確かに。
ですが、今回の事件を本当の意味で解決するためには、千葉明彦の逮捕、あるいは制裁が必須になります。そのための名古屋地検と思っていましたが、どうやら反町さん、あなた方を頼った方がよほど勝ち目がある。勘違いしないでください。私はあなたに協力するのではなく、あなたを巻き込むんです。ですから期待、裏切らないでくださいね。
That answer had Soromachi reevaluating his earlier thoughts. To be honest, he thought that since Tomoe was a woman, she felt an emotional sense of affinity based on them having a common acquaintance, and that was the reason she offered to cooperate with him. Damn. It's kind of sussy. But also, like, is that even, like, the woman thing? I feel like if you... I mean, it's not like she really knows Atasaka, but she knows Atasaka. Oishi trusts Atasaka, and, like... I don't know. Having friends of friends of friends makes me trust you more than being a stranger. I don't think that's woman-like. But that was wrong. She was actually one of the most mindful detectives you've ever met. I guess it's not like pure logic, is what he's saying. Always approaching a situation with calm, rational thought. That was why she could tell now their only chance to catch her enemy, Chiba, was doing everything in her power to make that happen. She had a sharp intuition beyond her age. Deep in his heart, Soromachi applauded her. Too deep to... Oh, I was going to say too deep to compliment her, but he literally just did. Alright, relax, dude. Bro's trying to riz. He definitely did. He did. Soromachi cheerfully laughed back, playing it off as a joke. In reality, he was feeling somewhat attracted to her, but he kept that to himself. Yeah, it is not the time. Fortunately, traffic was fairly light, so Tomoe and Soromachi arrived at the station shortly thereafter. They parked in a nearby lot and walked at a brisk pace towards the staff room beside the ticket gate. According to the station attendant, there were lockers located next to the ticket offices at the north and south entrances, and the number are common to both. So, Tomoe looked at the number on the key tag and decided to check the south entrance first. It was an area off in the shadows, and most of the lockers were in use possibly for long periods of time. And then... she immediately found a locker with the same number, off in the back. Naturally, it was locked, and the fee must have been paid fairly recently, because unlike some of the surrounding lockers, it wasn't marked overdue. What's in the box? Tomoe suppressed her racing thoughts as she said that to Soromachi beside her, then inserted the key into the keyhole. Ka-chink! The lock released with a light twist. Then she took a deep breath and slowly opened the door. She immediately lost her voice. There was nothing inside. It was totally empty. What the heck? Bazinga? We just got pranked? But how? Must have another key. Unless there's something, I don't know. Overall, with regret, I was gonna say maybe a USB inside or something, like inside the actual key, but what the fuck does that mean? Overall, with regret, Tomoe tightly clenched her fist. She wasn't expecting much, but the disappointment was immense. If everything Soromachi said was true, Tomoe's enemies were crafty and scrupulous enough to steal those materials. They could have already foreseen he was hiding something there. Here. Even though she thought it was useless, Tomoe stuck her head inside the locker to look around, but she didn't find any signs of any sort of message. Help, my head's stuck. This was Tsukada, so he must have something important hidden here. Something capable of dealing a fatal blow to Chiba. And damn, I told him Shiba last time, didn't I? I was close. Or maybe I said Shiba. I don't remember. And he had entrusted it to Tomoe. And yet there's nothing she could do to repay that trust. He was very cautious and hated to depend on others, but he deliberately entrusted it to her as an ally only for it to be snatched away by the enemy.
諦めるのはまだ早いです。
Never give up.
ひょっとしたらここ以外のロッカーかもしれません。俺も手伝いますので、この近辺に似たようなものがないか探してみませんか。
I doubt that same key would open multiple lockers though, right?
反町さん。
同じメーカー、同じ形状、同じ番号。
Wouldn't that be funny if it had the same number? Then I guess maybe it would work.
それだけの条件を揃えた鍵が2つも存在する可能性は確かに低いですが、ゼロというわけでもない。
Technically.
そうでしょ。
そうですね。規制の鍵なら同じ形状のものがごく稀にあると言いますし、ひょっとしたら。
No.
ちょっと待って。
It's the Tatano theme song. You know shit's about to go down. Saramachi tried to cheer her up, as she was still feeling discouraged and her mind was blank. But all of a sudden a strange sense of that something was out of place spread through her body. Think it through from the beginning. Why would someone as prudent as Sukada have bothered to hand her a numbered key in the first place? No matter how much she trusted Tomoe, if she were killed and the was key taken away, it would all be over. I'm guessing it's and the key was taken away. But I'll forgive them for that typo. So if he really wanted to entrust the secret to Tomoe alone, he probably would have just given her a key and verbally told her the number and location. Plus...
お前ならわかると信じてる。
Oh, we're lucky she's about to. Otherwise, that would have been a horrible choice. Sutada deliberately said that as he handed her the key. Then, maybe he was trying to convey a certain shared understanding between the two of them? If that's the case, then maybe.
どうかしましたか、警部さん。
いえ、反町さん、もしかしたら違う番号のロッカーなんじゃないでしょうか。
え？
Well, why did this one open that one?
同じ形状、同じ番号。3つの条件を満たす確率はほとんどゼロです。ただ、ロッカーが既製品である以上、同じ形状のものだけを探し出すのなら、その可能性はほんの少しだけ上がると思います。
That she would look further and not give up?
まあ確かに。ってことは、ここにあるロッカー、しらみつぶしに探すってことですか？
いえ、なんとなくですが。
Not any of the overdue ones, at least. Right. The esteemed politician that Tsukada had been telling Tomoe about ever since his days as a student. Cromwell. And the year of his revolution was... Oh... It's the were you really listening to me tech? Because if she wasn't, and she was just pretending, they would have been screwed. She found a locker bearing that number a short distance away from the previous one. Cromwell started the Puritan Revolution in 1642, so... However...
合わない。
やっぱりダメみたいですね。
It went into the keel without any resistance, but it refused to rotate, which meant this was the wrong key.
どうします？ここにある全部片っ端から試してみますか？
いえ、これじゃなかったら集結した年の1649、あるいはその間の番号もあります。他にも。
Just then, Tomoe thought back once again to the words Tsukada said right after giving her the key.
血が流れずに済めば それが一番なんだよな。俺も今はそう思うよ。
Those words, they were strangely abrupt and out of context of the conversation. Honestly, this is smart as fuck. I didn't really catch any of that. Then maybe.
最後に一つだけ試させてください。
え？あ、別に最後でなくても。
いえ。
Which one?
これだと思います。
As she said that, Tomoe walked over and stopped in front of locker 1688. That was the year, decades after the Puritan Revolution, where the Bloodless Revolution successfully forced the king to abdicate the throne. Ka-chink! The key rotated half, a turn with little resistance, and let out an unlocking sound. And then we in here. Pandora's box. Inside were 2 thick files and a document case so bloated it looked like a package. Immediately after that, the two of them headed to the car with the files in hand. Then, when they rushed inside the car and opened one of the files to read it, Somachi cried out in a voice that couldn't hide his excitement. Was I right? Is it the freaking nuke we needed? His hands were trembling in excitement, and a thick stream of sweat was sticking to his forehead even in this air-conditioned car. The first file was apparently a sort of diary, recording Akihito Chiba's activities. We vibe into the song too. Let's go. Looking at a different file, Tomoe was equally surprised. The details of every donation given to Representative Akihito Chiba were written there, along with the accounts of the people involved. There were so many zeros in the amounts, it was hard to think of them as simply political contributions. And what's more, the payees weren't limited to Japanese companies. There were a significant number of foreign currency calculations which suggested that a lot of these contributions came from foreign companies. Bro's dying? He's so excited he's dying? Soromachi removed the contents from the thin envelope, and as soon as he saw what it was, he forgot that he was in the car, tried to stand up, hit his head on the ceiling, then fell back down. That's goofy. But even as he grimaced in pain, he opened his eyes wide and began to let out a loud laugh right in front of Tomoe.
どうしました？
これ写真ですよ。どこで誰と会っていたかがわかる場所で本人たちの顔がはっきりとわかるアングルで撮影してやがる。こいつも全部誰が誰だかわかる。すげえぞ。
The photographs clearly depicted the faces of Chiba and the people meeting with him. Tsuruhara probably hired a freelance photographer to covertly take these. In other words, he had been pursuing Chiba from the very beginning for this explicit purpose. That's actually explicit purpose. That's actually kind of psycho. I thought he just, like, after seeing all the corruption, he just changed his mind, but bro was in it from the start. He was going deep undercover. I respect it, but it's also, like, insane at the same time. I guess it's the whole revenge thing he had going on. Knowing how meticulous and obsessive he was, Tomoe had mixed feelings. This evidence would likely be a very powerful weapon for Soromachi and his men, but in order to obtain it, Tsukara had to sacrifice his future, his dreams. Is it really necessary to give up something so precious in order to do the right thing? Imagine Hanada just pops outside the window again. Or actually, it was inside the car. He just pops out in the back seat. It's me again.
いや、それど
Let's
ころ
try
か
this one more time.
連中の動かしているアルファベットプロジェクトそのものを叩き潰すことだって。
反町さん、
何ですか？
そこまで言って、もし東京地検さんが張り子の虎だったら、私はあなたを殺しますよ。
It would definitely be embarrassing. As she said that, Tomoe glared at him with a sharp gaze full of killing intent. Osuma Sukata literally poured his entire life into gathering these records. This evidence was a precious treasure he entrusted to her. That's why, in order to entrust it to Saramachi, she needed to be certain that he had the determination to carry this through. She was slamming him with that thought.
望むところです。
The lights in Tomoe's eyes made Saramachi shrink back for a moment, but he quickly donned a fearless smile and nodded to her. There's no need to explain just how much thought and effort was poured into these materials. He already knew. The baton had most certainly been passed to him, so it's now his mission to do everything in his power to live up to those
ゲーブ
expectations.
さん、さっきも話した通り、女房を早くに失っていて、普段は俺の親に息子を預けているんです。なのにこの職業柄、毎日が忙しくて、まともに相手をしてやった試しがない。入園式、運動会、学芸会。普通の親だったら、休暇を取ってでも駆けつける行事は、ほとんど後日、8ミリで見ています。おまけに、危険な操作の時もあって、明日をも知れない身だ。つくづく罪作りな父親だと思っています。ですがね、そんな俺のことを息子は尊敬すると言ってくれてるんです。そして将来は俺か赤坂のように正義を守る仕事に就きたいってね。
Damn.
涙が出ましたよ。
I think he does become a prosecutor, if I remember right, in the future Miyuki arc.
だから俺はあいつのためにも胸を張って職務に誇りを持てる自分でありたいと思っているんです。青臭いかもしれませんけどね。
反町さん、
While listening to Soramachi's explanation, Tomoe couldn't help but think it reminded her of her father. Her father was an equally busy person. She almost never got to spend time with him on holidays. Now for school events or track and field competitions, she could count the number of times he came to see her on one hand. But despite that, no, because of that, Tomoe was happy that her father listened to her and showed her kindness whenever he came back, no matter how tired he was. Moreover, she felt ecstatic on those rare occasions when her father did manage to come out to see her.
真剣に生きていた父だから私は尊敬して大好きっと反町さんの息子さんも同じ気持ちなんだろう。
Her memory of her parents was more than just the time they spent together. She understood that now, and the thought of Soramachi and his son having a similar parent/childhood relationship somehow brought a smile to her face.
約束通りこれはあなたにお預けします。後のことはどうかよろしく。
ええ、任せてください。さっきも言ったように、俺はあなたの気持ち、確かにあなたが望んだ最高の形を俺たちは絶対に実現させてみせますよ。
Then Soramachi left the car saying he'd head back to Tokyo immediately. Tomoe watching him go as he headed to the ticket gate, then disappeared. His parting words were, "I'll repay you at our victory celebration." Now that's reassuring. Meanwhile, in the hospital.
東京地検にあれを渡したのか。
勝手に判断して申し訳ありません。本来なら 塚田さんの了解を得てからと思っていたのですが。
いや、いいんだ。俺はついさっきまで昏睡状態だったし、物事にはタイミングがあるからな。
Tomoe was sitting in a folding chair beside her bed, hanging her head, but Tsutada raised her upper body, then shook his head to answer. She confessed the whole situation to him, expecting to receive some reproach. But surprisingly enough, he listened quietly without prying too deeply.
むしろ、よく俺の小細工に気づいてくれたもんだ。あのロッカーの仕掛けを知ってたのは、俺が随分世話になった前の駅長だけでな。無理を言って、鍵を付け替えてもらったんだ。
Damn. Now that's a bro. That definitely would be tricky, huh?
その人も、
Damn.
去年亡くなった。だから多分、そこに裏帳簿をしまっていたことは、千葉と側近たちも知らないだろ
うまくいったのはたまたまです。だけど、もし外れでも、私は全部のロッカーを試すつもりでした。あなたが意味のないことをする人ではないと思っていましたから。
お前だったら、何も伝えなくても、きっと場所を突き止めて、正しい使い方をしてくれるんじゃないかってな。もう一度こういう形で出会ったのが運命なんだったら、それにかけてみようと思った。手間をかけさせて、すまなかったな。
いえ、そんな。
Shitara woke up early in the morning 2 days after the exchange with Soromachi, and the detective watching his hospital room, Takayashiki, immediately contacted Tomoe. As soon as she heard that, Tomoe decided to forgo sleep and rushed to the hospital to interrogate Tsutada, and she had just finished questioning him.
意識が戻られて本当に良かったです。外傷がなかったとはいえ、少々海水を飲んでおられたようですから。
まあ事情が事情だけに大げさな形になったが、結局のところただの急性アルコール中毒だからな。ご心配には及ばないさ。
それでも安心しました。大丈夫だとは医師も言ってくれていましたが、一時はどうなることかと思って。
Thus, depending on a person's physical condition, even acute alcohol poisoning can result in death. It's easy to laugh about it now that he's woken up, but the situation wasn't always so forgiving.
それより見ない。
That would really suck to die from alcohol poisoning from freaking Hanada. That's crazy.
これってやっぱり飲酒運転になるのかな。
え？
あ、いや、俺ってつまり泥酔状態で運転席に座って車動かしてたってことになるんだろうが、この場合どういう処分だ？
本人の意思で運転席に座っていたわけではありませんから、塚田さんに過失責任はありませんよ。
We take that.
まして手ずからエンジンを始動させていませんので、お咎めなしになるかと。
そっか。安心したよ。
Yeah, you know, we already have this mountain of things. Don't need to add drunk driving to it.
あと少しでシルバー免許証がかかっていたからな。これで望みがつなげる。
そうですね。
That was just Tsukada's style of joking around, thinking that Tomoe shrugged her shoulders and laughed. Then he smiled back at her for a moment, but then he suddenly turned his gaze toward the ceiling and let out a sigh.
やっぱりそっくりだな。
はい。
いや、
His wife, maybe? His late wife? Or, they didn't get married? Late dead girlfriend? Fiance. As he said that, Sukata leaned his body forward from the cushion he was using as a backrest and turned to gaze out the window. The sun was beginning to rise, and the light pouring in was dazzlingly bright. The cries of the cicadas were very noisy despite coming through the glass windows, filling the room with the feel of summer. Name drop.
大沼真澄さんのことをお聞きしました。敵討ちってそういうことだったんですね。
Sukata kept silence and turned away from Tomoe to hide his expression. Even so, he gripped the blanket around his waist so tight that deep wrinkles were being carved into it.
愛していらしたんですね。人生すべてをかけるほどに真剣に。
Yep.
それも確かにあった。だが今思うと本当は罪滅ぼしの思いだったのかもしれない。
罪滅ぼし？
あの事件で逮捕された父親が裁判を待たずに獄中で死亡したことを聞いた真澄は、その死の真相を求めて関係各所を駆けずり回った。持病があったとはいえ急死するほどに悪かったわけではない。まして自分の非を認めないまま自殺するような性格ではないと言ってな。俺ももちろん協力した。だが現実は厳しいものだった。
The body of Shigeru Onuma was subjected to judicial autopsy after his death, but the officer in charge didn't reveal the results to his bereaved family, Masumi. Even when she asked about the cause of death, they never said anything more than acute heart failure. So did he actually die from organ failure? Did he hang himself? Was he poisoned? She had no idea. But despite that, a few days later, a letter was discovered that had allegedly been written before his death. The letter was addressed to the people involved in the case, and he repented for causing it all, and then said that he didn't have long to live. However, it's a fake.
そんな手紙、偽物に決まっているわ。
Masumi voice
もし
reveal.
お父様が本当に死期を悟っていたのなら、真っ先に私に知らせるはずだもの。
After saying that, Masumi dug into her savings, hired a lawyer, and repeatedly petitioned the police to restart the investigation. She also visited the Ministry of Health and Welfare, where her father worked, and asked how to interview people connected to him. But in the end, all her requests were rejected. Even though she tried to bring it to court, the lawyer suddenly dropped the charges and other mysterious developments continued. In fact, the media seemed to actively obstruct the investigation, spreading more and more slanderous articles, causing her schoolmates and even her close friends to gradually turn away. On top of that, Masumi got wide-eyed stares from the neighbors every single day. Her heart was torn and she was driven nearly to the breaking point in despair.
だから
Tokyo bullying tactics.
もうやめようと。それよりも違う幸せを見つけることに力を注ぐべきじゃないかってな。
At first, Masumi's goal was to investigate the mysterious death of her father, and yet at some point she became entangled by hatred and resentment, turning more and more violent. And the person closest to her, it was even harder for Sukata to see her like that, so he was prepared to abandon his dreams for the future and suggested that the two of them move somewhere far away together.
だがその言葉はもうマスミには届かなかった。むしろ怒り、泣き叫んだ挙句、俺が裏切ったとあらん限りの言葉で罵ってきた。俺もさすがに言い返して大喧嘩になった。そしてその翌日、 マスミは自殺した。
She had committed suicide by gas inhalation, dressed in her wedding gown, and on the desk next to her there was a letter addressed to Sutada. Written inside was a single sentence, I'm sorry.
きっと俺にひどいことを言ってしまったことで見捨てられたと思ったんだろうな。バカだよ。そんなことで嫌いになる関係なら親父が逮捕された時にとうに別れていたってのに。ただそんなこともわからないくらい心なのに、俺はそれに気づかずあの日彼女を一人にさせてしまった。それが俺の罪だ。
What was she supposed to think when her lover had left her? Masumi was in the depths of despair, and he left her alone in a huge dark room. It was sad and painful just to imagine it. She probably wanted to depend on Sutada. She wanted him to encourage her. And yet, it's as if paranoia led her to doubt the feelings of even the man closest to her, losing herself to her passion and saying horrible things to him. So the moment she calmed down, realized her mistake, and understood the magnitude of what she thought she'd lost, the support holding her heart together fell apart all at once. But you don't know she thought this? I mean, oh man. It's a rough situation. What can I say? It really sucks. However, she at least wanted him to believe in her feelings. The last thing she earnestly wished for after losing her sanity and ability to think properly was to end her life.
塚田さん。
ただの自己満足かもしれない。言葉が万能でないこともよくわかっている。だけど大切な人に対してだけは神様のような存在でありたいと思うのはどうしようもない願望でな。そうでなかった愚かな自分を俺は許すことができなかった。そういうことだ。
勝手ですね。
Tomoe disconsolately muttered to herself. Masumi loved Sutada so much and didn't realize how he felt and how much she'd hurt him. And Sutada, who burdened himself with obligations no man but a saint need to shoulder, and tried to burn out his own life. Thinking of that lamentable ending these astonishingly stupid and pitifully awkward two suffered, Tomoe felt her chest tighten in misery. In the end, the stronger and more pure your beliefs are, the more they appear as sheer arrogance to an outsider.
なあ、見ない。俺はこの後どうなるんだ。
すでにあなたは汚職疑惑の重要な参考人です。
Maybe they'll give him lighter sentences for giving so much evidence to them?
現在は私の身内の刑事たちが身辺を固めていますが、いずれ東京地検の方々があなたの身柄を確保して東京へと移送されるでしょう。その日が来るのはそれほど遠くないと思います。
じゃあその時がお前とのお別れだな。
なりませんよ。いずれ会いに行きますから。勝手に決めないでください。
バカ言うなよ。俺はこれ以上惨めな姿をお前に見せたくないんだ。たとえ来ても面会は拒否するからな。
だったらもう一度かっこよくなったその時、私に連絡してきてください。逃げるのは許しません。
見ない。
許しません。
Tomoe gazed straight at Tsutada with a sharp look in her eyes, and those eyes twinkled as she did. Looking at that face, Tsutada pictured another face overlapping with it, and spoke from the heart.
マスミ、きっとお前に必要だったのはこれだったんだよ。
My bad, bro. And at the same time, he came to a realization what he was lacking was that sort of strong heart. To believe in someone and to be willing to wait. Maybe if he had the compassion to fully trust her back then, this misfortune never would have happened.
今度は割り勘だからな。
ええ。食べ歩きでも何でも付き合いますよ。
Alright guys, we're gonna leave it there. Good episode. We got the nuke. Suramachi has the nuke. Hopefully he can pop off. And some nice little closure with Tsutada. Some bad story. Some good stuff there. But anyways, thanks for watching as always. And it's time, I guess we're going back to Takuchi Station. See what's up there. How did the meeting go? Where they were like, sorry, we're actually not gonna give you the materials. Probably not great, but should be fun.